What's going on, chat? Hey, I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me. I think that you should be able to hear me clearly. I know that there is a little bit of a delay, so I will wait for you to put some thumbs up in the chat. Let me know that everything sounds good, please. Thanks a lot. What's going on, everybody? All right, thanks for the thumbs up. So obviously you can hear me okay. I, for me, it's 2:30 in the afternoon on Sunday. When Queenie gets in here, it's going to be 7 o'clock in the morning, like Monday morning for her. She's way ahead of me. And I know that she was, sleeping pretty much for a while. She probably just got up a little while ago. I might be getting a message from her right now. Yep, just got a message from her right now that says she'll join shortly. So when she jumps in and we hear her come in, we'll jump right into it and start talking about everything that's going on. Sounds good? All right, awesome. Thanks, Pudge. Everybody, if you could, hit the like button. Go and do it right now, while you get a chance before she gets in here. Hit the like button and remind everyone that comes in to hit the like button. Also, if you can share the link on Twitter or wherever else that you are, that'll bring as many people, as many eyes to the interview and to the chat that we're going to do here as possible. I appreciate it, and I'm sure Queenie's going to appreciate it. So, all right, I'll see you guys in a couple minutes as soon as she gets back in here. Ciao. I'm just hearing from Queenie. She asked me, she said, are you already live? I usually go live a little early, a little earlier than the actual interview, just so I can make sure that everything's set up okay, that the audio and visual and everything is cool. So she says that she'll be right here. So we'll just hang out and wait for her. Everyone who is new to my chat, and I see a lot of new names because obviously we haven't covered this project before. So there's going to be a lot of new people in here. Everyone that you see in blue, Pudgy 13, Fire King 30, anybody else that comes in that has a blue name, those are my mods. And you can say hi to them. They're a bunch of cool guys, but they'll be keeping everything in line, making sure nobody's spamming or no craziness comes in. I am so flattered that Queenie is coming in, and I expect everybody to be extremely respectful of this young woman and of my chat. So that said, she should be here really any minute, and I'm looking forward to hearing about this project. So be back when she gets here.
Hello, am I coming through?
Hey, how you doing? Can you see me?
Let me see. Hang on. Yes, I can.
Let me change this up. Yeah, there we go. It is an absolute pleasure for you to be here. I know that you probably just woke up, yeah?
Yeah, it was actually an hour earlier than we thought it was. I had the moment of realization at about 1:30 in the morning that I was like, I didn't actually check that conversion. I just went with it.
Oh my goodness.
It was actually 6 a.m. for me. But
so I was talking to Queenie, talking to the chat. I was talking to Queenie a little bit, well, last night for her, but earlier today for me. She told me that she was gonna, she was basically gonna go to sleep. It was gonna be morning when she woke up to actually do this. But then I saw you're in the chat, you're in the Discord. You're extremely dedicated to this, to the point where you don't even sleep much, do you?
Yeah, I've always been a night owl anyway. So it's not really much of a muchness, but yeah, it's an addictive place to be, honestly. I love our community a lot, and a lot of them don't share my time zone, so I do make some concessions with my free time for that.
Yeah, your time zone is crazy. You are on the exact opposite side of the earth as me. I mean, it's really, I freak out about this all the time anyway. It's Sunday here. It's the middle of Sunday for me. It's Monday morning. You're getting ready to start work where you are. And that's just, I don't know, it's just a weird thing to kind of grasp,
Yeah, it's certainly it has its challenges. Anybody in our team could tell you that we have a number of time zones between all of us. And between that, it means that we actually have a bot that if one of us types a time, it converts it for everybody else, because it's just too much of a nightmare otherwise.
Yeah, I have a problem with the math too. And yeah, other projects that I'm involved in, that's always an issue. You've got people all over the world and trying to coordinate with everybody. Sometimes, you want to have a meeting, but it's like 3 o'clock in the morning for someone on your team. So it can be a bit of an issue. Either way, I don't know that I can express enough how appreciative I am that you would do this. This is the first time that any of us have actually seen you live on video. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, yeah. In the 2.5 or so years I've been in this space, or not quite, maybe coming up to 2. Everyone's seen my face. It's not much different, but yeah, I think I'm one of the few that's actually willing to at least dox this aspect of me. My name is my name, but I have friends in real life who call me Queenie anyway. So.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
It's actually a huge difference. And I talk to people about that all the time. And I was talking to you about it earlier. There's, I have people who come on and I'm just hearing voice or whatever, or they've just got kind of a picture up of them. And that's great. Anyone who's willing to come on and chat is fine. But there is just something so much more intimate and so much more genuine about having a face-to-face conversation with someone where you can actually see expressions and, so I appreciate it, but I want to get into this because I know that your time is short. You actually kind of want to start your work day. So I'm going to pull the, excuse me while I figure this out. I'm going to pull the main, there we go. So we should be able to see that now. And then I got to figure out how to see both me and you. There we go. All right, I'm good. So first thing I'm going to ask you, how do you pronounce this? Is it Kounotori?
Well, it's a Japanese word, so it's Kounotori, but
Kounotori.
I mean, everybody pronounces it differently. I don't think any of us could really do it justice other than maybe a few of us who are actually Japanese in the in the crew. KTO is fine. I've heard Kounotori, I've heard Kounotori, I've heard Kounotori,
Okay.
but Kounotori is the actual pronunciation.
Kounotori. All right.
Basically translate to Oriental white stork, which is our mascot.
Yeah. Actually, and I looked up the word because I had heard it before about the white stork and everything. But there's a couple other things too. I mean, it has there's like a Japanese railroad or a train or something like that with that name. And there was what else? There was something else that I found too that had that Kounotori name, and I forget what it was, but it's basically an Oriental stork, like you said, right? I think I wrote it down actually. Just so, there's a spacecraft called Kounotori. Were you aware of that?
I wasn't, but there you go, meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of kismet, right? Because you guys are trying to get to the moon, so. All right,
Absolutely.
this is what I thought, and you can tell me if you agree with it. I would like to go through the web page here. I don't know that I want to there is a lot to unpack in this project. And, I don't like to throw too much at people and kind of confuse them. You know what I mean? So I don't really want to look at the white paper or any of that stuff today. I kind of wanted to go through the website, maybe ask a couple questions and get people basically familiar with what you guys are doing. Does that sound good to you?
Absolutely, that's fine. I mean, I think most of the website has been updated. We obviously had to make some changes as just to preface all of this for anybody who's not familiar with us. We just recently had a complete overhaul of our developer team. So we've got bar one, we have entirely new developers. We have a new community manager. And so there's been some changes to a lot of the way that we're doing things. Goal remains the same, but just the how we're getting there has changed.
Yeah, and that is your title is the community manager, which is awesome. I was really happy to see that when you had first put that on Twitter. Glad to see that you're someplace that you enjoy and someplace that seems to really, really appreciate your efforts. I know I always have, regardless of where you were. So I appreciate that. Were you, before I really dive too much into this, what's your history with this project? Are you just coming into it, or were you involved in it at one point?
Yeah, so I actually wrote the light paper and helped co-write the white paper. So I've been in KTO since the day it launched. I've been in the Discord since before that, about a month before that. I think I joined November 5th. So it's a project that's been near and dear to my heart since it launched. I love the community. I've been sort of advisory role is a bit too much, a bit too high, but I've been kind of in the background helping them make decisions, or even just shedding my experience from being with SHIB to sort of help them. But because of my position in SHIB up until recently, it meant that there was almost like an embargo on me mentioning anything else. Right. So I haven't been able to really publicly support them how I've always wanted to until now, which hence the change that a lot of people have noticed. What's this token she's suddenly shilling, and like everyone's trying to kind of catch up to it. But I've held Kounotori since it launched in December 2021. So it's one of the very few tokens I hold. I only actually hold 5 cryptocurrencies, and this is one of them. So
and I'll tell you, and just for everybody in the chat as well, I mean, if there are any questions that come in, I'll tell you right now, I had absolutely no thoughts at all about talking about any of that prior stuff about the SHIB stuff or anything like that. I really wanted to concentrate on Kounotori today, but you are welcome to talk about whatever you want to talk about, bring up whatever you want. I just, I don't feel like that's my place to really go there, you know, without you kind of leading it. So we'll leave that at that. Now, this project started Q4 of 2021.
Yep, we launched right into the bear off the back of that massive rush we saw in October. It's definitely been something that really set the pace for the project early on, which is unfortunate, but timing is timing. You can't always get it right. The really important thing is that we have held so strong through it, even if there was minimal price action, even if we crabbed sideways, so to speak. The actual community that has found a home at Kounotori, and you know, the team behind it, even the original developers who are still around, mind you, that we've only handed over like operational stuff. They are still very much part of the community, very much here for the project. They haven't abandoned it by any means.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fact that we've been able to do that and keep building our exchange's alpha is already out, despite the severe lack of growth and price movement. So for me, it's really important because it shows the tenacity of our team and of our community, but also it's an indicator that, you know, while going to the moon is great, it's not what we're here for, and we don't need to achieve our goals. It's just nice. It's just a nice byproduct of becoming popular, of being known. But the actual goal of our project is to release our exchange, and that's still what we're working on, regardless.
Yeah. Well, sometimes actually people get a little nervous when things kind of skyrocket a little bit too much, because now you start thinking about the pump and dump kind of thing. It goes too high, and then now you've got people wanting to take profits, and you're up and down, and there's too much concentration on that, not enough concentration on the utility and the actual building of what you're trying to do. So I get it. I hear what you're saying. I think that's awesome. All right. Let me just read through a little bit of this real quick. So we aim to create the first community-driven centralized exchange. I mean, that first sentence right there is kind of noteworthy. So we're talking about a CEX, but community-driven. And going on with this, it says, with staking rewards of up to 20% APR paid in a stable coin, an NFT marketplace, NFT staking perks, our own blockchain governance via the Nest Council that will nominate and vote on new crypto projects to list. So let's go back to that first sentence, right? How is this CEX actually community driven?
Yeah, so that actually does tie in heavily to the Nest Council, which you mentioned already, which operates basically as a form of a DAO. So it's one of those things where, again, as the beta comes around, as the launch comes around, the full details will be explained. It does require it requires a lot of thought behind it, a lot of consideration, and a lot of ensuring that we can actually operate as a company and as an exchange in this sort of centralized manner, while also being community driven. But yes, it's a bit of an oxymoron, I know. Having a community driven centralized exchange sounds odd. But in essence, what we're trying to do is we're trying to remove, or rather blur, the line between centralized and decentralized as much as possible. We want to borrow from the great things about centralization, such as easy access. It's beginner friendly regulation. It complies with regulations in most cases. We won't look at some of the recent ones. And also just the sheer ability to on-ramp onto many different chains, many different aspects. It's not, they're not typically on chain, but they help you get into DeFi. Met with the decentralized aspects that we want to incorporate, such as being community driven, not being exploitative, profit driven monsters, and also just providing as much access into the crypto, into as many chains and as many projects as possible. And that also kind of ties into the NFT aspect, where there's a severe lack of sort of understanding or support for NFTs, particularly in a centralized aspect. So we want to offer staking for NFTs as well, because it's absolutely something that we can do. And we think it's one of those things that will kind of set us apart from other centralized exchanges.
Yeah, right. Awesome. So this Nest Council, this is what actually gives you the community driven aspect of this CEX. So you're going with that kind of model as opposed to a validator, delegator kind of thing, right?
Yeah, so it's because it's not a blockchain, there's no need for it. Think of it more like a board of directors, but rather than having a vested monetary interest, or applying for the role as an employee or something like that, it would be directed by the community. It would be people from the community making up this council, helping make decisions, helping drive listings, and deciding on all of that.
Yeah. Okay. There's probably 100 questions to each one of these points that I can ask, but in the interest of kind of keeping it moving, I'm gonna scroll on down. We're gonna move into some other things, and we'll see what you think. But maybe we can talk some more about this stuff in detail as time goes on and as some of these things actually start coming to fruition.
Yeah, and anybody who has questions, please join the Discord, join the Telegram. Feel free to send me a DM. We have a very helpful community. They've had a long time now to sort of hone their answers to questions. So anybody, we have a very helpful community.
At the risk of skating on kind of the edge here, I can say this about Queenie. In a prior life, right? When I would dive into certain discords or whatever and look for answers on things, this was the person who actually would greet me and actually give me answers and just be very, very just cordial and welcoming. And so that's something that I've really come to appreciate about you that you don't necessarily get from a lot of other people. So I would imagine, I can't see how you're not carrying that forth into this Discord and Telegram. So yeah, anybody who has questions about anything, dive in, and this young lady is going to really help you out, I'm sure.
Thank you.
All right. So the token, KTO, is an ERC20 token. Launched on Ethereum, as we mentioned already, in Q4 of 2021. We've got the contract address here, and we've got a 1 quadrillion supply. Is this a deflationary token, or what are you doing with that supply?
Yeah, so to sort of explain how we counteract that supply, you also need to understand the tokenomics of KTO. So one of the most important things and one of the biggest aspects of our token is that we have a sliding tax scale. So we have a 10% tax on all buys and sells. Of that, it's adjustable. And of that, it goes to our marketing/development wallet, and also to reflections. Reflections happen instantaneously. They're hard coded into the contract. Anybody who holds KTO will automatically have their balance updated with their share of the reflections anytime anybody buys or sells the token. So it's a token that makes you money for holding, which is fantastic. It also means that for a lot of people, their initial buy-in tax is they kind of earn it back over time. So lots of us are in the billions to hundreds of billions in reflections earned, which is fantastic over the time that we've held. So a happy accident of that is we have a very potent burn mechanic, because what we did was we locked a portion of, or sent a portion of, the quadrillion supply to the burn wallet. Everyone knows the wallet ending dead. And that actually naturally made it the largest holder, which means it's entitled to the most reflections. So as of right now, we've burned 438,382,423,312,000 tokens, or 793 at the end. We're actually close to getting to the 50% point of burning our tokens. So yes, it is deflationary, but it's not actually, it's kind of just a byproduct of another aspect of our contract.
Okay, so you're saying you've sent almost 50% to the burn wallet already, and then we still got things that are continuing to burn. There's always that section of the community who concentrates on that, so that's a little something for everybody. That's awesome. On the sliding scale, I did read where it says it's kind of adjustable. Am I understanding it right? So part of it basically goes toward your marketing wallet. Is it a matter of, once you feel like the marketing wallet is good and you've got enough in there to do what you want to do, you can actually start increasing those reflections? Like, is that how it slides back and forth?
Yes, so we do have a history of doing no tax Tuesdays, which was an old mission of our previous developers to help people get in, because I get it, 10% tax is off-putting. Only downside of that is, because of the sort of time we were in and the market we were in, that money is desperately needed to build an exchange. It's not cheap to build one from the ground up. So we've kind of opted more for reduced tax days rather than turning it off completely. But the thing is, we're not here to make a killing off of the taxes into the marketing wallet. Like, we just want to fund the exchange, and when we've done that and the exchange is ready to go, the tax is gone. It's not going to be there forever. And the reflections are replaced by a very generous staking APR.
Yeah, as we scroll down a little bit, we actually come to that here where it talks about how there's a point where the tax is gone altogether, and but we'll get there. Find our way there. There is a question in the chat. There's a couple questions in the chat. What type of benefits are there for staking NFTs? Has that actually? You're not doing it yet. These are things that are coming, right? Yeah,
correct. So our alpha is out, but that's mostly for sort of tweaking the UI and just testing like very basic functionalities of the website, and just getting people's feedback on that. So yes and no. So only certain, we want to incorporate as many NFT collections as we can, because we want to facilitate those projects that, especially those that don't have tokens, they're often very left out from any sort of promotion from other entities or other projects. So for example, we have our own collections, which I think you're about to maybe bring up on OpenSea. We have our own collections, and what those do is we believe that everything that we create at KTO needs to come back to the core functionality in some way. It needs to relate to what we're trying to achieve, which is fair, equitable returns on staking through our exchange. Our token serves that purpose. Our NFTs serve that purpose. And what they do is, depending on what tier they are, they will reduce your transaction fees by up to 1%. And they will also decrease your, they will also, I think I said that the wrong way around. Okay. My apologies, 6 a.m. brain. They will decrease your transaction fees by up to 1% and increase your APR by up to 1%, depending on the tier. So they serve a functionality, and this is something we want to offer to other communities. Obviously, KTO is king. It is our project, so we do want to make sure that our holders are taken care of, but we want to meet as many needs as possible for other communities. So if they want to have some sort of benefit worked into their NFTs and have staking, or their token and their staking, it's absolutely something that we're on board to do.
There are a crap load of these NFTs. I didn't even scroll all the way down to the bottom yet.
Yeah. Well, fun fact, they're actually minted on a sort of not in like a flat amount. It was actually per person who was eligible. So it's people who bought before a certain date, people who had done so and not sold anything, and people who had done so and sold less than 5%. And so that's sort of where the breakup comes from. The only downside is that we are now realizing that nobody wants to sell them. That's what happens when you make an NFT with utility. People hold on to them very tightly. So, with that in mind, we don't want to dilute the strengths of our existing collections, but we are hoping to maybe do something extra, so that some new people can get a foot in the door.
So I'm sorry if I missed it as I was kind of scrolling through, but do each one of these NFTs all carry that same benefit that you were talking about, or are there stages?
So it's a tiered structure. So these animated ones are called Nintai. And those were, as I said, the ones for people who bought before a certain date. So they're like OG of the OG. They've never sold. Well, they may have now, but by the time this came out, they had never sold. And so those are the ones that afford you the extra 1%. So that can bring you up to 21% APR, sorry. They also stack, so you can combine them. So if you've got people who've got, say, 3 Valley stalks, which gives you 0.1%, and some OG stalks, you can combine those and sort of modulate how much of the transaction fee you're paying and how much of an APR/APY bonus you get.
Wow, great ideas. Great ideas. All right, cool.
Kounotori, it's the best project you've never heard of.
I had not heard of it. I gotta be honest with you. Hadn't heard of it until you sent that tweet. And I'm learning, I've looked into it obviously a little bit, but I'm obviously learning even more as we chat. I straight up FOMO'd into this. I really did. And I FOMO'd into it because quite frankly, because you were involved, and I don't mean to keep like blowing smoke up your butt or whatever, but for me, you really have always come across as someone very, very ethical and really into the community and stuff like that. And so I knew that if there was something else that you were involved in, you did your DD, probably way more DD than I would ever even be able to do. And I felt like if you were involved in it, then I better hurry up and grab some, because, you know, God knows what's going to happen to it. And honestly, I was telling people earlier, I didn't grab a lot, you know, I'm not like a rich guy, right? I grabbed what I could, and I've already 3x'd my money. This was a matter of a couple of weeks ago, I think, right?
Yep.
It kind of keeps going up. Is this the Queenie effect?
I wouldn't know. It's the first time I'm really experiencing it. But the timing, all I did really was, I love this project. I always have. I think the project sells itself. The thing is, when you look at the actual marketing aspects, and shout out to our marketing team, okay? Like Kounotori's graphics and videos and all of the resources we have, which are created by them, are amazing, and they work so hard. Problem is, Twitter kind of doesn't like repetition. So I think the more I analyzed it, the more I looked at the data, the more I was like, I'm fairly certain that we've almost shadow banned some of our accounts just from the sheer consistency of our tweets. Because I was finding that if I, you know, not to get too much into the nitty gritty of it, because analytics is boring for a lot of people, but the more I looked into it, the more I felt that Kounotori just did not have the reach, no matter, even if I was tweeting like something that, you know, obviously if you tweet out SHIB, you're going to get a lot of hits. That's just how it is. But even if I was tweeting other things or even no hashtags, I was getting almost less results than if I was tweeting out Kounotori. So what we're trying to do is reshape, remold, and just break out of this bubble that we found ourselves in, because that's the problem. It was everybody we were shilling to, everybody we were talking to, everybody we were sharing this project with already held the token. We were all just talking to each other. And I think less so the Queenie effect, more so just somebody who can bring new faces in, new ears in, new people who can hear about it.
I think you're being a little modest. When did you send out that tweet that said, hey, you know, I took a new position? When was that?
Should have been early Feb. Let me check. I think it's been about a month now. Could not tell you off the top of my head.
So beginning of February?
Yeah, something like that. I think it was around the 10th or something.
It was more like the middle of February, but you
mid
might
of
be
Feb.
right.
Yeah, it's because the thing was, we had the exchange coming out, and we didn't want to, or the alpha, so we didn't want to put out two announcements too close together. Because you know the alpha had been being worked on for so long.
Right.
And me coming on as community manager was something that was like, Kramit, who is our CINO, he didn't think it was going to be a possibility. But then suddenly I had a lot of time on my hands. And yeah, I was able to take up that offer.
Yeah, well, I'm calling it the Queenie effect, because it was moving kind of sideways, and then all of a sudden, boom, it kind of took off. So I'm crediting you. All right, moving on with this. So, all right, we talked about the sliding scale. We've got the reflections. There's also the ETH marking wallet, and we talked about how that can kind of be divided up, right? So moving down a little bit, you've got some things that are basically meant to keep everybody safe. And the anti-sandwich attack, I'm not sure that everybody really understands what a sandwich bot or what a sandwich attack is. You want to explain it like really quick, or I can do it?
In a very simple term, if you've ever looked at Dex tools and you've seen where someone you'll see a bot has bought like 5 ETH, say, someone has sold, and then just after that they get sold on immediately, or vice versa. It's basically when your transaction gets sandwiched by a bot, where they essentially profit off of you altering the price.
Right.
It's what they call a dick move. So we didn't really want people to have to deal with that, and we understand it. Like, these kinds of things do make the trading of the token a lot slower. Hence, potentially some of the, like, you'd see some of these micro cap tokens like ours where they do a lot more volume because they don't have these measures in place. They're a lot easier for people to just day trade, but that's not what Kounotori is about. Kounotori is about buying a bag and holding it, or topping it up as you go. And pretty much all of our holders are just waiting for the exchange so that they can stake.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing. Like, you've seen this price go up, which, as you can see, we have anti-honeypot mechanics, but we actually got flagged as a honeypot on Dex Tools. We don't know how. It's been fixed now. Because you can absolutely sell this token. So I don't know why it ever said that, but it did look kind of funny for a bit there as we've gone up, because no one was selling, because they haven't sold all year. Why would they sell now? Like I said, most of our holders are waiting for one thing and one thing only, and that's staking on the exchange. So it's quite nice.
Honeypot meaning that you set it basically to 0 so that nobody can sell, but that's not what's ever going on, and you have mechanics to keep that from ever going on. The minimum, I think, was set to 0.1% of the total supply, which is 1 trillion tokens. So you can never really get the honeypot situation happening. And then the anti-tax manipulation. You want to talk to me about that real quick?
Yeah, so basically what it is just, again, in layman's terms, it was something that was brought up by CerTic in our audit report. So basically the two main things they brought up were, A, the contract isn't renounced. Well, the contract isn't renounced because we need to be able to alter the tax. And also the fact we have a tax, but the thing is the tax cannot go more than 10%. We physically cannot input a number higher than that. So you will never see us set it to 100% and take your entire transaction. It's physically impossible. So that's sort of one of basically the main mechanic we have in place to prevent us from being able to alter it. Goes into way more detail in the white paper, where our main developer, or at least our main Solidity developer, Jan, he kind of answers and provides a good answer of exactly why we have those risks, as they call them, CerTic calls them, in place.
Okay. And moving down, here's something that's really important. It was CerTic audited. That's not cheap. Sometimes people will elect to go with a different auditing just to save a buck. But you guys went to the gold standard, which is awesome. How did I honestly didn't dive into the audit. How did it come out? How did it look?
Really good, really good. Yeah, like I said, they only really brought up two things, and that was the lack of renounced contract and the fact that we have a tax that can be changed.
Okay.
So that was it. Everything else was spick and span. And that's the thing. We want to do it once and do it right. We are, open, honest, secure. It's our motto for a reason. We believe in transparency. That's why our website has so much on it.
The changeable tax thing, honestly, it's kind of common. Some people might look at it as a detriment, but I mean, others look at it as, being able to kind of, be able to move things around as you need. So I don't see that as a huge issue.
I mean, that's the thing. It lets us reward our holders more so than other tokens can. I mean, we can double the reflections if we want to for a period of time, which I think we've done in the past, or it's a byproduct of reducing the tax regardless. Typically, we keep it at 7% tax, 3% reflections, but yeah, it's something that we've changed quite a few times.
So maybe double reflection Thursday.
Quite possibly. We'll see. We got to pay for that exchange first.
Yeah. All right. Centralization made easy. A platform will provide users with a slick and easy to use interface while still maintaining all the features you would find on any top tier exchange. Security will be at the forefront. Newer DeFi tokens being subject to a thorough auditing process before being listed. So before anybody is able to list with you, you're putting them through an audit. So we're going to make sure that we have legit people building with you, right?
Yep. And that's it. I mean, we're not in the interest of playing favorites or saying like, oh, like we don't like this project, so you're a scam. It's not that. It's look, there are tokens where you can tell they're blatantly a scam. Or ones that, as you said, haven't even tried to get an audit or haven't even tried to, have somebody view their code. They will definitely be looked at with scrutiny, but we want to bring as many people on as possible. So
yeah,
it will be that, you'll be finding that line between them.
Okay. There was something else that I found kind of unique here. So we will also be the first CEX to have the listing fee in the project's native token. So the fee that it takes to list with you, they can pay it in their own token, which
yes.
Tell us how that benefits the project.
Well, the main thing is that they don't have to dump their own token and take a big hit on their own project to list with us. It's something that anybody who's worked for a project knows, or anybody who's been involved in a listing process knows. It's not cheap. A lot of these bigger exchanges are freaking vultures when it comes to it. And they're expecting you to fork out 15, 25, 50K, and majority of the time they want that in a stable or at least Ethereum, which means like most projects have a developer wallet, but it'll be in their native token, which is what makes things really difficult, because you've got that, you want to provide options for your community, and everybody knows like centralized exchanges get the ball rolling, or even decentralized exchanges. But then you've got the trade-off of having to sell $25,000 of your own token. And it's a difficult position to be in. It's something that you have to weigh up, and it's not easy. So I think providing that option, particularly for smaller projects that, sometimes they die before they even get started just because of things like this, even if they had potential.
So are you going to make some sort of conversion on your side? Like everybody pays with their native token, but then are you going to turn that like into some sort of stable coin, or like, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, so I think the idea is to handle it in a bit more of a responsible manner. So like we'll take it as the payment, but then I imagine we will need to convert it in some way. I think one of the developers can probably shed better light on this, because again, it's something that'll come out sort of with the listing documentation as the beta and the full release goes live, of exactly how we're going to do this and exactly the percentages. But we're not interested in taking people's tokens and then just dumping it anyway. That would defeat the purpose of us doing it that way. So I think it'll be, a much more responsible, measured way of doing it.
Cool. All right, good. And we talked about the staking.
Yes.
KTO will have staking returns of up to 20% paid in a stable coin.
Yes.
So that's awesome as well. This can be pushed even higher with the use of the NFTs, again, which we've already talked about. And you've got a little chart here that shows you can just kind of free stake, I guess, unlocked, right, for any period of time. Is there an unstaking period when you decide, can you unstake instantly, or do you have to wait a certain amount of days when you unstake?
No, I think my understanding is that it's instant. We're not in the interest of, tangling up people's money any longer than they are comfortable doing so. So if people want to be able to pull out their money, they should be able to straight away. The idea is that we are a transparent exchange, so you will be able to see our proof of reserves at any given time. There should be nothing precluding you from taking your money out of the exchange, because it is just that, it's your money.
Awesome. And so if you stake for 3 months, 1.25%, 5% for 3 months, 10% 6 months, and you get the 20% if you actually are staking for a year.
Yes. And as you can see, this is where the sort of key utility of Kounotori is that we obviously are going to heavily favor our native token for staking, but we want to still provide that opportunity to other projects as well.
Yeah. And I would imagine, just like normal, I mean, if you've got it staked for the year and you pull out of it, 6 or 7 months in, you lose all your rewards, or?
I'll have to see if one of the developers can correct me on this, because I don't know if it's changed. I don't think we plan on making people lose their entire reward. I think it would just be a significant portion of it.
Yeah. Mohammed in the chat says, just FYI, KTO is yet to see a bull run. Well, yeah, because we talked about that. You guys kind of launched right into the bear market.
Yep.
So with it going up the way it's been going up lately, can you imagine if we were in a bull market? And no, this isn't financial advice, not a financial advisor, neither is Queenie.
No.
But if you have a little common sense, right, that this thing, in a bull market, I mean, it's got some wings.
We have killed a zero before, I will say.
I'm sorry?
We have killed a zero once before, but that's probably the extent of it. So yeah. It's got a lot of room to go up. That's definitely the case. And
yeah, right.
The thing I like to reiterate is that I'm not, of course, some people might say it sounds like I'm discouraging people from buying. I'm not at all. But what people need to understand is that this isn't a moon boy project. This isn't something where we're like, yeah, let's get this to the moon as soon as possible. We want to smash 4 zeros and make everyone millionaires. Like, we're looking to provide longevity. We want to provide a proper investment vehicle that's going to survive all of the regulations that are coming to crypto, because they are, and B, reward people for holding and actually investing. This isn't something that we want people to just, swing trade and day trade and flip and do whatever with, because it's just not what we're about. We're about providing 20% APR on your on your staking of Kounotori.
Yeah, awesome. What's up, Pika? I haven't seen you in a while. Friend of mine old friend in the chat.
Oh, hi, Pika.
Pika, have you? Now I'm seeing something about you had some ETH burning a hole in your wallet. So let me know. You might have already said it, but I'm not going to scroll back. Are you in KTO? Did you grab some with that extra ETH that you had? Just give me a thumbs up or something. Just curious. All right. So spend it. Now you can take your rewards, right? Your rewards, your reflections, whatever, all of that, and put it on this Kounotori debit card, right? You've bought the token, you've staked it for a term. Now it's time to spend those rewards, top up your Kounotori payment card by exchanging crypto to fiat in our mobile app. That is extremely convenient and a really, really good feature. And then transfer it to the card account. Now, the question I have is with the mobile app, you can exchange your rewards or whatever for fiat. Can you link another bank or something to that, or do you have to put it on this Kounotori card? Is that the only way that you can do it?
That's a good question. I think it will be in the best interest of our users to provide multiple options, but I think there will certainly be rewards for using our one. So much like, crypto.com had their debit cards where they had all different rewards, like rebates for your Netflix subscription and things like that. Similar, but better is what we're aiming for. It is down the line. It's going to be once the exchange is, out and settled, before we have the full details of that. But I don't see why we couldn't. I just can't confirm that it will definitely be that way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fair enough. So Pika says, yeah, she actually did get in. So that's awesome. Dark says he grabbed 5 billion. For everybody who's in the chat, it's probably a lot of your community that's in the chat anyway. But if you are in the chat and you saw the tweet or you saw whatever and you decided to come and check it out, watching the video and hearing from Queenie is awesome, but actually go and read the white paper, do your DD. Look at the CERTIC. All the information is there for you to make an intelligent investing decision. But don't, you can be like me or don't be like me. Like I said, I just straight up FOMO'd in. I didn't know a damn thing about it. All right, I'll grab some. So
yes, I do recommend people do their research first.
Yeah. I mean, it happened to pay off this time, but I've done that a lot of times where it didn't pay off. So that's not exactly what I recommend you doing. All right. Just More Than Pixels, and this talks about the NFTs, which we actually just looked at on OpenSea. And now you've got a flight path in this. There are 6 different phases, and we've got a bunch of stuff checked off already in the first 2 phases. We've got 1 check in the 3rd phase. Do you have time frames that you're shooting for on each phase, or is it just like whenever we finish that phase, that's when we move on to the next one?
Well, okay, so it's every developer's nightmare is having to provide a time frame, but yes and no. So there are some things where they may still change. Like you can see in phase 6, like we've got blockchain development there, right? So, and even the stablecoin launch with regulations and with the way things are changing, they may not even come to fruition yet. There are some things that are definitely subject to change. And I believe this is the updated version of the flight path. Like I said, there might be a couple of things on the website that still need changing. So yes and no. So some things, the closer things, yes, we have a time frame on. We expect beta this year, potentially even full release this year. I think within as long as we've got the funding secured, which is the main thing we're working on at the moment, which is a big part of us. I have to go into it, but basically we're moving our company from the UK to the US because HMRC is a royal pain in the butt, pun not intended. And there are a lot more freedoms and sort of investment vehicles available to us if we go with a US company. Also, all of our developers are now US based, bar one. So that sort of is what our progress is currently hinging on. We've got Tech Alchemy sitting there waiting. We negotiated a 6 developer team instead of 2 and a 37% discount to the total cost, which is fantastic. But because of that, we are securing the funding still. So that's sort of where providing the dates is a little bit tricky, because once we've got the beta underway again, yes, we can provide up much more reasonable timeframes. But because we're still negotiating with the lawyers, we're still understanding the best way to do this, which we are making progress on. I will say we've ruled out a couple of different strategies. But yeah, until we have that hard confirmation of yes, the US company is set up, yes, we know what we're doing with all the shares. Yes, Tech Alchemy have resumed. I can't provide concrete, but it should be this year. Is the short answer.
I hear what you're saying as far as sliding into the US and having a little more freedom, but with all the SEC stuff going on right now, particularly with stable coins and such, and just overall regulation that Gary Gensler is kind of going nuts about, you could be sliding into more trouble than you maybe thought about.
I mean, yes and no, because the thing is, like, it's not going anywhere. What's happening at the moment is that the governments are just trying to catch up, right? Crypto is not going anywhere. It simply won't. It's already too big for it to go anywhere. The thing is that, like, you can see that, there's all these, this country's banning it. Oh, wait, no, they're not. Or this country's doing this regulation. Oh, wait, no, they're not. What it is it's buying time for them to put out their own government-backed stable coins. You can see it. You've got the one in Russia coming out, the digital ruble. You've got the EAUD in Australia going on test this year as well. Like, it's just regulation trying to catch up. Kounotori, here at Kounotori, we're not afraid of regulation. We know it's inevitable. We're willing to adapt to it. We're willing to work with it. We don't foresee getting crushed by it, because there's always going to be a need for centralized exchanges. You will always need a way to get into the DeFi market, and the DeFi market is too big to go anywhere right now. Yeah. So I think it's in the best interest of governments to overly regulate decentralized exchanges as opposed to centralized ones, because realistically, we're the ones who are much easier to regulate. So yeah, we're not afraid. I understand. Yeah, it's going to require agility, but it's something that we are more than prepared for, and it's something that we considered early on when we decided to do a centralized exchange instead of a decentralized one. Yeah,
awesome. I don't want to go through every single one of these bullet points. I mean, it's KounotoriToken.com. Everybody can come and you really should look through all this stuff with a fine-tooth comb. But so basically what you're saying is you're projected by the end of the year, you should be through phase 6 if everything goes right.
Ooh, I don't know about phase 6. I think probably phase 4. Definitely.
Okay.
And then I think by the end of the year we want to be starting to list tokens, or at least have have had those conversations with tokens and NFT projects that we want to bring on.
All right. Awesome. All right. That's good. That's really good. And then I went down to the milestone stuff. I mean, this is like a lot of like L1 development, like really into the developing kind of things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't necessarily for, I don't know. I don't really know how to put it, but other than it's just not L2 stuff. It's like a lot of L1 stuff. The users, the log in and log out in the past, that's a lot of the coding things that are going on here, right? Now, are these obviously coinciding with the flight path and, kind of moving along the same time frame?
Yeah, so the flight path is specific to the entire project, but the roadmap is specific to the exchange. So these are all of the aspects of the exchange, as you can see, down to the minutia of what we're working on. So the sooner we have all of these ticked off, that means the exchange is ready to go. So
awesome. And transparency. So we have the team. We have Mike, the Chief Executive Officer. Are you watching the chat? Are you what? are you able to see the chat on the live?
Yeah, I'm doing
Are
a
all
bit of
these
both.
guys in the chat? Because I don't know everybody yet.
I think Artie and Yon are definitely in there. I'm not sure if Mike and Kramer are at the moment.
Okay.
Or at least they were.
Josh Artie is the Chief Operating Officer. How do you pronounce this gentleman's name? Yon?
Everyone gets it wrong. I think even I pronounce it wrong. I say Yon.
Yon?
Yeah, Yon, Johan, Johan. I think we all pronounce it differently. I say Yon, but
Okay, all right. The CTO, Chief Technical Officer. And who's this guy? This guy looks like somebody I don't really want to meet in a dark alley. John Kramit, the Chief Innovation Officer. Nice guy?
Lovely.
Okay. The name like Kramit. What are we cramming and where are we cramming it exactly?
We actually have a running joke of because you know how there's like a million Inu tokens. There's a running joke of Kramit Inu, like Kramit Inu.
Oh, great.
But no, they're all, so these are all of our new developers bar Yon. So Yon did the Solidity and is the brains really behind all of the technical aspects of everything. But Mike, Artie, and Kramit, or Mike, Josh, and John, they were all originally community members and people who worked for the team. So Artie's always been involved heavily in our marketing, and Kramit very much so in the community and also with marketing. Mike is like, if he's not the biggest, he was one of the biggest holders of our token and has held the entire time. So they're all people who are extremely passionate about the project.
Yeah. All right. This Jan, he looks like a kid.
Just a baby. He's younger than me, actually.
Is he really?
And yet, probably one of the most brilliant people I've met in this space. So
yeah,
I have a lot of faith in this entire team.
I've met a lot of 20-something-year-olds who just make me feel archaic, you know. The knowledge that they have at such a, you too, the knowledge that they have at such an unbelievably young age, really just moving things into the future. You know, I feel like I probably should still have a VCR and an 8-track player or something, you know, compared to where everybody's moving. But yeah, it's really good to see. But yeah, gee, she looks like a baby. Anyway, I've got kids older than all of you. So
yeah, I think Jörn's in his early 20s, same as me, but maybe a couple years younger.
Yeah, my youngest son is 22.
Oh, there you go.
That's my youngest. So all right, we have partnered with Tech Alchemy, London-based development studio that has been voted as the #1 blockchain technology company in the world by Clutch.co. Well, I don't know who Clutch.co is, but you know, they voted them #1, so that says something. Tell me about Tech Alchemy and the partnership there.
Yeah, so that a lot of that kind of precludes me joining the team officially. So I've always been in the community, but everything I've heard, everything I've seen, just using the alpha as it is, they are a phenomenal team who do a fantastic job. I have every confidence that they'll be able to help us, and their developers are quite brilliant. Honestly, they do a really good job. And between them and Yon, like we really do see a lot of success. And the thing I love as well is there's been a lot of they're very quick to adapt to our feedback as well. So yeah, I haven't gotten to work with them very closely yet, but I'm really looking forward to with the beta.
Kramit is now blowing up my chat. I'm on my old YT name, didn't realize it. By the way, for those who missed it, I'm Kramit. I'm watching DJ Trev and making sure he doesn't anyway, I don't want to be in the dark alley. Okay, you're not gonna catch me there. Nice to meet you, Kramit. That's awesome. So all of these guys are in the US?
Yes, except for Yon. Yon's where you're living at the moment, Yon? Are you in the UK? I know you're in Europe.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, awesome. Okay. All right. So just moving down to and that's pretty much it, right? So we met the team, we went through the whole thing. Beautiful. If at some point in the future, as things develop, you know, you want to come out and talk about it, you just give me a holler. You know how to get me. I'm very, very interested in this project. And you know, I've got other things going on too. I mean, you got to be diversified. But I'm looking to maybe pull some more together and maybe grab a little bit more of this, because I've got confidence in you and confidence in what I'm seeing so far. So, you know, don't let me down.
I'll try not to. No pressure.
No
Thank
pressure.
you
It's
so
all on
much.
you, but no pressure. If you could, if you know, you could wrap it all up and say, what reason would you give to people who are not invested already? If you were to wrap it up and try to tell people why you feel like they should at least give Kounotori a look, what would that be?
It would probably be just I think that it's one of the soundest projects out there at the moment. I think most people who have been in the space at least for a little bit have been victims of rug pulls, of scams, of projects that aren't honest, of projects that go nowhere, of projects that haven't really thought out what they're doing. And I think for me is that Kounotori is a well-planned, well-executed project that has an extremely dedicated team, an extremely dedicated community, and is here for the long run. You know, we haven't let a bear market kill us. We haven't let it stop us from building. You know, I was about to quote something and realized it was Thanos, but I was going to say we are inevitable, but and then I realized
I quote the Avengers all the time. Feel free.
yeah, it came up and then I was like, wait. But yeah, it does feel that way. You know, I said the other day in a space I was in that, you know, regardless of price action, we're going to build this exchange. Price action just helps us get there quicker.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You know, what we want to do is achieve that staking possibility for our holders. And so that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. Determination goes a long way. It really does. And if you can continue to build through a bear market, and geez, this has been a long one, and keep the positivity and keep your community together and everybody motivated, that really, really says a lot. So congratulations on everything that you've achieved so far. Congratulations on your position here, and I look forward to chatting with you some more about some things. And again, my sincere appreciation for coming on and turning your camera on and doing this with me today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having us and for giving us this opportunity. As I said, you know, it's critical now more than ever to get new eyes on us, as we've seen. That's all we really need. The project speaks for itself. We just want people to hear about us. So thank you as well.
Yeah, no, anytime. All right. So, hey, bud, thanks for taking the time to talk about KTO with one of my favorite people on this earth. I'm done typing for the day. All right. That's cool. All right, everybody. We will see you later. Thank you very much. Thanks to Queenie. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Really appreciate you all. Go and check out this project. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And you know, I've been chatting a little more with Queenie here and there whenever her husband will give her the time to get on and chat with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody being here. Hit the like button for me if you could on the way out, because even if people didn't catch this live, YouTube will put it out for them to see it a little later. And I think a lot of people need to see this. So, all right, I will chat with you later. Thanks a lot.
Thank you all.
Bye.